You would think that after one of the most talked about celebrity weddings in recent years, the drama would eventually fade. But somehow, the story of Nicola Peltz and Brooklyn Beckham isn't dying down. It's evolving. Because what started as a messy wedding situation has quietly turned into something much bigger. A long-running, carefully played-out narrative war between two incredibly powerful families. And once you start noticing the pattern, it's hard to ignore. At first, it looked simple. A wedding, a dress, a misunderstanding. The headlines painted a very specific story. Victoria Beckham, global icon, fashion designer, and Brooklyn's mother, was allegedly left out of designing Nicola's wedding dress. And just like that, the media had its storyline, mother-in-law versus bride. But here's where things get interesting. Because almost immediately, two completely different versions of events started circulating at the same time. One side suggested it was just a scheduling issue, nothing personal. The other hinted at tension, distance, even hurt feelings. And that's when this stopped looking like a misunderstanding and started looking like narrative control. Because in Hollywood, especially at this level, stories don't just get out. They're placed, carefully, strategically, and usually for a reason.
This is a case for the FBI.
I hired one of the most famous wedding planners, not only in the world, but just of all time. I've been obsessed with Preston Bailey since I was a little girl because he does things like this, like really gorgeous, breathtaking stuff. However, he was hired in April 2021 and he canceled because he was simply overbooked 11 months later. Wedding planners don't do that, especially a wedding planner of this caliber. So what I suspect happened was the Beckham Peltzes were being little assholes, and he realized that it was taking up so much of his time that it wasn't worth it, and that it was so chaotic that he really couldn't control what was happening. Now, the reason that I believe that is, number one, common sense, and number two, Nelson Peltz literally called it a shit show. They hire two substitute planners and then fire them 9 days later. Then they both sue each other. The wedding planner said that Nicola would give them names of celebrities without their contact information, to which Nicola would then say, look it up on Google.
If you pay close attention, you'll notice something else. A pattern. Every time this story resurfaces, it doesn't come from direct statements. It comes from those familiar phrases. Sources close to the family. Insiders say. Friends reveal. And the narratives? They never quite match. On one side, you have reports suggesting Nicola is an outsider, who came into a very tight-knit family and struggled to find her place. On the other, you have whispers that she actually helped Brooklyn see things more clearly, that maybe the dynamic he grew up in wasn't as perfect as it looked from the outside. Two completely different realities, both believable, both impossible to fully verify. And that's exactly what makes this so effective, because the truth isn't what spreads the fastest. The most compelling version does. And then something shifted. Instead of fueling the drama, the tone started to soften. Interviews became more measured. Public appearances felt more polished.
It's so exciting. I mean, the people here are so nice, and I feel very lucky to be on the carpet. It's amazing. I mean, this setup is insane. It's so cool. And the fans are so great. I'm so happy I got to take a second in to talk to them and to meet them. It's so exciting. I grew up being a huge Transformers fan, and now to be able to be in the fourth one is very exciting for me.
Even the messaging around the relationship began to change. Suddenly, the focus wasn't on tension anymore. It was on love, support, partnership. You'd see Brooklyn posting about Nicola with captions that felt deeply personal, almost poetic. Nicola, in turn, presenting their relationship as grounded, stable, and unshaken by outside noise. It looked like a reset, a rebrand. And in celebrity culture, that's rarely accidental. Because when public perception starts to tilt in one direction, the smartest move isn't always to fight it. Sometimes it's to rewrite it. But here's the thing. The internet doesn't forget that easily. And more importantly, it doesn't stop watching. Because even as the tone shifted, people started picking apart the details, especially on social media. Take something as simple as a birthday. When Brooklyn's family posted public birthday wishes, it should have been straightforward, normal. But instead, reports started circulating that those posts were seen as performative. That word stuck, performative, because it opened up a much bigger conversation. What's real and what's curated? And ironically, that question didn't just apply to one side. It applied to everyone. Because in the same breath, people were analyzing Nicola's posts too. The videos, the captions, the timing.
You have to make a wish. Happy birthday, I love you.
I love you.
I hope your wishes come true.
Oh, this is so sweet.
Every detail became part of the conversation, not because anything was confirmed, but because everything felt intentional. And in today's world, perception is everything. Now step back for a second, because this isn't just about two people. It's about what they represent. On one side, you have the Beckhams, decades of global fame, cultural influence, a family brand that's been carefully built over years in the public eye. On the other side, you have the Peltz family, massive wealth, business power, a completely different kind of influence, quieter, but just as significant. And when those two worlds collide, it's not just personal, it's structural. Because both sides understand something very important. Image is power, and control over that image, that's everything.
Don't believe that Victoria Beckham danced on her son so inappropriately that he felt he had to post 4 Instagram stories about it like years later, okay? I do, however, believe that an old money conservative family like the Nelson Peltz family kind of brainwashed him into thinking that his mom is raunchy and inappropriate and made him really uncomfortable with her kind of free spirit and fun dancing. That is something I do believe, and I do not believe that Victoria Beckham was grinding on her son or doing anything of that sort. She is a classy chick who's been in the public eye forever, and I just don't believe it. I think Nicola and her family are brainwashing Brooklyn, and free Brooklyn.
Which brings us back to Brooklyn, because in the middle of all of this, he's become the focal point of the narrative. Depending on who you listen to, he's either a son distancing himself from his family, or someone building a new life on his own terms. A husband deeply devoted to his wife, or someone who's changed significantly since the relationship began. And the truth is, we don't actually know which version is accurate, because what we're seeing isn't raw reality. It's filtered through posts, through headlines, through carefully timed moments. Even things like his tattoos, often brought up in conversations about his relationship, become part of the story people build around him. But again, that's interpretation, not confirmation. And that distinction matters more than ever. Because here's what makes this entire situation so fascinating. It never fully resolves. Just when it feels like things have quieted down, something small brings it back. A post, a quote, a subtle comment picked up by fans. And suddenly, the conversation is alive again. Not because something major happened, but because the story is still being fed. And whether that's intentional or not, it keeps everyone watching.
Nicola Peltz is allegedly the one who wrote that entire Instagram statement for Brooklyn Beckham. She wrote that the Beckhams had been trying to control Brooklyn and had also ruined her wedding in multiple ways. And the blind item reads, "Hopefully the actress's fingers didn't get worn out typing that very long statement that's allegedly from her cuck of a husband."
So the real question isn't who's right, or even what actually happened. The real question is, why does this story keep going? Because in an industry where attention is currency, staying relevant matters. And stories like this, layered, emotional, open to interpretation, are the ones that last the longest. They don't need a clear ending. They just need enough mystery to keep people talking. And maybe that's what we're really seeing here. Not just a family disagreement, not just relationship drama, but a perfectly modern celebrity narrative. One that lives across headlines, social media, and public perception, where every post can be analyzed, every silence can be interpreted, and every version of the story can coexist at the same time. Because at the end of the day, we're not just watching what happened, we're watching how it's being told, and more importantly, who gets to tell it. So now I want to know what you think. Do you think this is just normal family tension playing out in public? Or do you think there's something more calculated happening behind the scenes? Because once you start looking at it this way, it stops feeling like random drama and starts looking like strategy.